Hello and welcome to our Yaya Body Sculpting Training Guide. In this course, you'll learn about laser lipo, lipo cavitation, radiofrequency skin tightening, vacuum therapy, cellulite treatment, wood therapy, detox sauna blanket, contradictions. So there are some contradictions, or as far as users or people that can't. I'm saying users, I'm sorry, because I come from a tech background. So I'm saying users, but contradictions in regards to people that should not get these services done, basic marketing skills or marketing content that we can help us to get ourselves out there, not just in social media, so not just Instagram, Facebook, and so forth, but also like in Google or Nextdoor, certain different apps, or just resources that can help you when it comes to servicing clients or getting yourself out there. I also have some downloadable consent forms as well as FAQs that will help you, as well as a good FAQs that will help your clients if you decide to start doing services. These FAQs and frequently asked questions are questions that will be beneficial not for just yourself, but also for your clients. So let's talk about what body contouring is. Body contouring includes surgical and non-surgical fat reduction procedures. So these procedures reduce or remove stubborn pockets of fat to contour and shape different bodies of the area. So what is some versions of non-surgical body contouring? Non-surgical body contouring is also known as a non-surgical fat reduction. So there are many types of non-surgical fat reduction procedures, but most are based on one of the following principles. So control cooling. So control cooling is using freezing temperatures to target and destroy fat cells. You'll have laser lipo, which is using control heating and laser energy to target fat cells. You also have radio frequency lipo, which is using control heating and ultrasound technology to target fat cells. So that fourth principle actually is an ultrasound technology fat to help to reduce those fat cells. So the best candidates for, and the reason why I want to mention why we talk about what non-surgical body contouring is because if you are deciding or you think that you want to do body contouring, you want to know that there's a difference between control cooling based on the device that you have and regular, like a 6-in-1 cavitation device, which we'll show later on. So with those devices, if you have a person that calls you like, hey, I want to get cavitation done, is this considered like a cool sculpting? And you're going to say, no, it's not. It's cool sculpting, you do need to, it's a medical procedure in a sense. You have to go to a medical spa to get cool sculpting, but it's still considered non-surgical because there are no incisions being made. No one's bleeding, there's no incisions being made, so therefore it is considered non-surgical. So that is the reason why we kind of talk about that a lot. So the best candidates for any body contouring treatment is someone who is closer to their desired weight and wants to eliminate stubborn pockets of fat that are resistant to diet and exercise. And so when I say their desired weight, it's that person's desired weight. It's not your desired weight. It's not what Weight Watchers say your desired weight is supposed to be. It is that person's desired weight to eliminate that stubborn pocket of fat that are resistant to diet and exercise. So when it comes to downtime, some people are like, well, there's any downtime? No, there's no downtime for these procedures because it's non-invasive. So therefore, after you have your service done, you can resume any daily activities immediately after the treatment. So let's talk about first laser lipo and what it is. So laser lipo and how does it work? So if you notice in this picture here, these are depending on the device you use, and I will talk about that later. I have two. I use the 6-in-1 machine, and I have also an S-shaped machine, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. And you'll see some videos of some of the machines that I use. So the laser lipo is a laser lipo pad. So unlike conventional liposuction, laser lipo is not to remove fat cells, it just shrinks them. So I always like to use the example of a grape. So pretend you see a grape, and with the laser lipo, it shrinks that fat into like a raisin. So with the laser pads, they are placed directly on the skin, which allows the laser energy to penetrate the fat cells. So once the fat cells release, it shrinks that water into the body, in effect, it shrinks that body fat. So that's what helps aids in losing inches in the body. So what that after that, the body then flushes out the expelled fat cells, which is going through your lymphatic system, burns them that energy there. So it's always important in regards to that. I always recommend always doing cavitation along with laser lipo. I don't recommend doing the service by itself. I always recommend doing that service for the ultimate results for your client. So anybody that's eligible for or who is eligible for laser lipo is not intended for extensive weight loss. I want to make sure that I specify that it is not intended for extensive weight loss. It only shrinks the fat. It doesn't contour the body. So it may be right for people who are 25 pounds over their ideal weight, more concerned about with problem areas, arms, stomach, back, legs. Also, depending on the device you have, most 6-in-1 devices, cavitation or machines, they have a little small pads that you can put under the chin, which helps shrink that fat there. So you can also put it under the chin area. Make sure that person has good health and good skin elasticity, pretty much not having loose skin. You don't want to put laser pads on somebody's stomach that has loose skin because it would defeat the purpose. You want to make sure that their skin is not super loose. So the treatment schedule for that, your client may notice results after only a few sessions, but most require 3 to 8 treatments to reach their goal, which is why I recommend doing this particular service along with cavitation for maximum results. In regards to the frequency, you can do 2 treatments per week for 4 weeks or every 2 days. But lasers can also be done on the body for about an hour. So that's a little bit about laser lipo. All right, let's get into lipo cavitation. So lipo cavitation uses ultrasound waves or waves to target the fat cells only. So when the waves are directed to that fatty area, they damage the fat cell membrane. So if you've ever gotten body contouring or body sculpting done with lipo cavitation, it is that annoying sound that you hear in your ears. So it doesn't do any damage to the surrounding tissues or organs. It's just breaking down that fat cells. And those fatty substances, which are obviously key components of that flabby tissue. So cavitation is definitely a great way to reduce fat because it completely destroys the fat cell and it converts it into liquid, which is then naturally eliminated through your urine, your stool, sweating, and so forth. That is why it is important. If you've ever gotten body sculpting services done, you always hear the body sculptor say, make sure you drink plenty of water before and after your service, because the more water you drink, the more it's going to be able to eliminate that fat into that liquid, and you will eliminate that through your stool, your urine, as well as your sweat. So cavitation or ultrasonic cavitation is considered an alternative treatment to surgical liposuction as a non-invasive procedure which results obtained quickly. So this is a good point, a talking point, especially when you are telling people that you're doing body contouring services. You can always post on your social media this without needles, without pain, without side effects, as well as without any downtime. So that's important to know. So before any treatments or any cavitation treatments, I always say drink 8 cups of water, or then just tell people drink more water than they'll normally do. Avoid alcohol prior to and after your treatments. No tanning. The skin is very sensitive after tanning, so no tanning before or after your treatment. And I continue to preface a large amount of fluid. Water is needed to help the body process the excess fat. So too much alcohol will limit liver functioning to process the substance. That is why we say, like, do not drink alcohol before and after your service, because the point of we eliminating that fat is through your stool, your urine, your stool. So if you have too much alcohol, then that will definitely limit your liver function, which means that you cannot expel that fat. So that is why it's very important not to drink alcohol prior to and after your service, and be sure to drink as much water as possible. In this video, this is another machine that I use. It is a, let's see, one of the machines that I use, I'm sorry, this is my S-shaped machine. So I'm using this on the side for my user or my client. And then in this video, you'll see me also using the other 6-in-1 machine and doing my cavitation service there as well. Common areas to treat and some of the aftercare. So the common areas you can treat when you're doing cavitation is stomach, the love handle areas, inner thighs, back, man boobs, upper arms, hips, the butt area. I'm not sure why anybody would want to do that, but people do ask for that. And also Lipo Cavitation also eliminates cellulite. So it's very good to, when you're doing a cellulite treatment or a cellulite reduction treatment, I always start off doing my Lipo Cavitation first. And then from there, I'll do the vacuum therapy, which I'll show later, or we'll talk about later, I'm sorry. So aftercare, of course, as we mentioned again, avoid carbohydrates, including alcohol, for 24 hours post-treatment. You want to make sure you give the body time to eliminate toxins and waste from the body. It's also very important to drink plenty of water to aid in the process. Exercise is very recommended, it's highly recommended to stimulate the circulatory system as well as the lymphatic system to remove the toxins during that treatment time. And also note that when you're performing any cavitation services, you always want to make sure you go towards your right. So if you're going in a circular motion, you want to make sure that you go towards the right, because if you know about the body, you know that your intestines goes towards the right. So if you're going counterclockwise, you will definitely impact your body if you're doing services on yourself, and you can definitely impact someone else's body. So be sure to always go right when you're performing services. If you decided to do the back area, you want to split the back in half. I always say do 15 minutes on one side, 15 minutes on the other side. And then also lipocavitation services can be done every 72 hours. So if I go back to this slide prior to, you see when I'm performing, I'm going down. I'm always making sure that every time if I'm doing someone's stomach area or their side, I'm always going and hitting the bed to make sure I get the full stomach. And if I decide to go around, I'll be going all around towards that person. So I'm going to be going in a circular motion here when I am needing to perform these services. So now let's talk about radiofrequency skin tightening. So radiofrequency skin tightening is a non-surgical technique for tightening the skin by stimulating collagen, and it also helps with the elasticity of the body. So it definitely can smooth and firm the skin. It reduces the appearance of wrinkles. It also improves overall texture to the skin. This is definitely a great option for rejuvenating the skin. It gives it a fresh, youthful appearance. With that particular device, you can use it on many areas of the body, including the face, the chest, neck, and back area. Um, with radio frequency, this particular treatment uses radio waves to produce the heating effects to the deeper layer of the skin, which stimulates the collagen. And so your collagen builds every single day for 8 weeks when you're getting that service done. So it builds that collagen in the body. So, with skin tightening, the heat causes water molecules in the deeper layer of the skin to vibrate, causing friction, which heats up that collagen fiber, causing them to string and tighten up. Over time, new collagen forms, and over time, new collagen forms. So yes, over time, that new collagen forms. So the effects of radiofrequency skin tightenings are immediate, and improvements will carry on for up to 8 weeks. So there's no aftercare when it comes to radiofrequency skin tightening. You might notice a slight redness, but when performing this service on yourself or anybody else, do not use oil-based products because this can definitely burn the client. It can burn you. Make sure you always use ultrasound gel or any conductive gel. And also, when you're making or doing this service, make circles, and because you're making circles. So as soon as that heat touches the body, it produces that collagen. So you want to make sure you're making circles and you're not holding the machine or you're holding the device on a person. You're constantly making circles when performing these services. So the benefits of radiofrequency skin tightening, this is definitely an advanced technique which offers many unique advantages over alternative skin tightening procedures. The laser therapy is less invasive than surgical techniques. Any area of the body can be treated safely with radiofrequency skin tightening techniques. Of course, the recovery time and risk of scarring are minimized. I have noticed that when performing some radiofrequency services on some of my clients, I had this one client, she had a lot of stretch marks, and I just noticed that their stretch marks were like disappearing. So it definitely did impact and change the formation of her stretch marks, and it wasn't as dark, it was lighter. So that was definitely a plus for her. You'll be able to resume your normal daily activities immediately after your treatment. The production of collagen softens the deep layers of the skin and helps smooth the upper layer. So that honestly can help with those stretch marks because it will smooth out those upper layers. This technique does not create raised areas or bumps as surgical tightening would do, so it wouldn't do that. Any patient of all ages, skin types, and tones are great candidates. And also, radiofrequency skin tightening is a great complement to other skin rejuvenation techniques. We'll next talk about vacuum therapy. So, vacuum therapy is a non invasive technique that is used for reducing the appearance of fat and cellulite. And depending on the device that you use, it has been discovered to help increase the size of the butt area. So, more of the BBL enhancement. That you can definitely use a vacuum therapy device for that as well. It also lifts cellulite away from the muscles, it encourages blood flow, stimulating the lymphatic drainage, and it also helps mobilize fat to areas where it's needed. So vacuum therapy is great as a standalone treatment for cellulite and for reducing small deposits of fat. And the treatment leaves your skin immediately smoother and finer. And vacuum therapy is actually considered one of the number one body contouring accelerators because a lot of people, depending on the device you can use that one device for the vacuum butt treatment, or you can use that device for the cellulite treatment as well to help mobilize that fat. So the benefits of vacuum therapy, it definitely does minimize cellulite appearance, which is in body sculpting. It improves blood and lymphatic circulation. Localized fat deposits can be softened. So if you do have some fat and it's harder and you need to have that localized fat, you can definitely use that device because it can help soften that fat as well. It improves skin elasticity, the texture, as well as tightness and vitality. And of course, it stimulates the flow of water throughout the body. So in this example here, this is me performing, I'm molding this client prior to doing her butt service. I am molding that body. I'm pushing that fat with that device up into the butt area to give it a more plump look in this particular recording. Actually, let me go back to, let's see. Yeah. So you'll see that here. I'm pulling, pushing, I'm mobilizing that fat. So if you want more of a plump area, if you're doing a buttocks treatment, if you don't have that actual device, you can just push that device up towards that area. I always say it's like a backwards J or a candy cane, and you're mobilizing that fat to that butt area. Wood therapy. So this is one of my favorite services. This particular client here, she was post-op, so she got I believe she got a Lipo 360 done, and so this is post-op. So I was performing wood therapy on that side area to give her a more contoured shape after her post-op. So for her, she didn't really need to get cavitation done. She just needed to get um, uh, skin tightening done and um, as well as wood therapy. But needless to say, wood therapy, sculpting treatments is there's so many different forms of wood therapy. So you have so many different devices or different, tools that you can use when it comes to wood therapy. So wood sculpting therapy is mainly used to apply a deep, strong massage using different wood tools specific to that particular what you're doing. So if I'm doing a service where I'm trying to contour someone's butt area, I have a paddle, a device that I use. I'll use that to kind of push that fat up. If I want to help eliminate cellulite or contour that body, I may use this mushroom tool, or you can use your regular roller tool to help break that fat down as well. So with wood therapy is considered a holistic technique, and you're able to stimulate and balance energy, reduce the level of stress, and relieve muscle and joint pain. The use of these particular tools, in addition with any body sculpting services, it definitely does help firm and tone the body, and it does reduce the localized fat. So, wood therapy is a growing trend that can sculpt the body. Wood sculpting tools are specifically made to manipulate the restructure of the fatty tissue. It helps loosen that tight skin, those tired muscles. It smooths out cellulite naturally as well. So, when you're using a series of repetitive movements to speed up the metabolism and sculpt and tone the body, this is what it does. So, when performing services, sometimes what I try to do, if I have a client, before I do any cavitation service on them or any body contouring service, I always use my wood tool, and I maybe for 60 seconds I try to in this video or picture, I'm sorry, I'm going to I'm just pretty much using a fast motion to rub that particular tool on that user's belly in a fast motion to kind of break down that fat. So this method involves bringing circulation to the targeted area with applied smoothing, deep pressure and movements that lead to a rapid breakdown of fat and cellulite, and it's also good for pre and post liposuction. So any type of services, if you're doing, um, if you've had post op, um, after your post op, your provider will tell you, hey, this is when you can do post op treatments. You can do cavitation treatments, or you can do wood therapy treatments immediately after, or whenever they tell you to do so. I know for this particular client, she was telling me that when she got her lipo 360 done, she had to get her wood therapy done immediately after, and she was in pain, but it definitely did control her body. So there are very good benefits of doing wood therapy before and after your clients and post-op clients as well. Our detox sauna blanket. This is definitely a good thing to have, even if you just have one for yourself or at home or just for any of your clients. Detox sauna blanket, it burns 800 to 1600 calories per session. It improves blood circulation, relieves pain by expanding the blood vessels. I have a client that has rheumatoid arthritis, and when she does a sauna blanket, she does not have as much pain. She does not experience as much pain, so she definitely does um, do the detox on a blanket. So it's very good to relieve pain. It detoxifies the body by allowing it to sweat out all that fat and toxins. So that sodium, alcohol, nicotine, the cholesterol, all that heavy metals you have in your system, it eliminates all that sweat and detox it out your body. On an average, most people partake in 30 to 45-minute sessions. You can do it 3 to 4 times a week. I kind of compare it to if you're going to the gym, and after you go to the gym or you're working out, you go to the sauna for 30 to 15 to 30 minutes. I can barely last 10 minutes, but that's neither here or there. But the infrared sauna blanket, it boosts the ability to do pretty much everything. So it detoxes your body. By detoxing your body's reducing all the inflammation, those body aches, and it boosts that blood flow as well as that mood. And I mean, I just not more saying it's like when it says evidence also suggests is I know for a fact that most of my clients or some of my clients that do have some services that they may not can't do, but for sure the detox on blankets they do because it does help with those aches, those pains, those chronic pains, rheumatoid arthritis, and so forth. It definitely helps with that. So if you are using a sauna blanket for yourself, you can use sweat cream. So I kind of use sweet sweat or Albaline, that makeup remover. You can put that, lather yourself up with that, and then wrap yourself up in that sauna blanket. You can use a blanket, a sauna blanket sheet. It's kind of like looks like aluminum foil. It's normally in like go bags or emergency bags. But you can find sauna blanket sheets inside on Amazon, or you can do a plastic bag. I've seen some people get like their trash bag, cut them up the bottom, wrap themselves up in that, and put themselves in that blanket to increase that sweat. And so you will literally be sweating like crazy. So sometimes what I do, I have one at home. I have my own little sauna blanket here at home, and of course I have one at the body sculpting office. So what I normally do is I have my waist trainer, I lather myself up with a sweat cream, and I wrap myself with my waist trainer and get in that bed that's on a blanket, and I'm sweating like crazy. So it's definitely a really, really good feature to include if you decide to include detox on blankets to your services for your clients. All right, so let's talk about who shouldn't use service. So anyone with a pacemaker or other implanted electronic devices, you should not touch. People that have epilepsy, the reason for it is because especially if you're doing skin tightening on that person, that red light is not going to cause any damage to you. But when people have epilepsy, that constant rotation of light is kind of like you would never see a person that always have like seizures or so forth. You won't see them going to a rave because of the lights and things of that nature. So sometimes that light can impact that client. So you don't want to have a user that has epilepsy. Of course, you're definitely not going to touch anybody that's pregnant and or lactating. Even if they're still breastfeeding, you're not touching them. You don't want to touch anyone that has cancer, any infected, inflamed, or swollen skin, any cardiac issues, any metal plates or pins, in the application area. So the reason for it is because, especially if someone has pins or metal plates, if they let's say they're doing cavitation of like their stomach or their back, and they have maybe a plate or whatever in their hip, like that noise that I was mentioning earlier, you'll have hear this loud noise in their ear. It's going to be even worse. But you don't want to touch those treated areas because those metal plates, you don't want to impact anything for those your patient, your client, or your patient. So be sure not to service any of those users with these particular applications. And of course, in this particular document, under this topic, I will include the consultation forms of people you should treat, who you shouldn't treat. It's consultation forms that you want to make sure you cover yourself on when you have situations like this that occur, so you know who you can or cannot treat prior to a body sculpting service. All right, so let's talk about creating posts for your body contouring businesses. So it's really important to be sure that when you are making any post for your service, depending on what services you decide to use or what platform, may it be social media in regards to Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, YouTube, whatever the case may be, it's very important to be consistent with posting. I know how people feel about posting, and it's can be annoying because you got to be consistent. But when you are creating posts for your body contouring service or business, there's just some important things I like to point out. You want to make sure you include the basics. So the basics is including the basics of who, what, where, when. This is in need when you're trying to communicate to your customer or trying to get something across to your customer. You always want to make sure you go for an eye-catching image. So your image design is important. You want to make sure that your image speaks to your audience. You can use your own image or choose from, free photos on Google or share images, and make sure you get their permission. So if you're asking one of your friends, hey, can I, use your image or as use you as a model, or whatever the case may be, just make sure you get their permission. Also want to make sure you want to keep it brief. In our technology driven world, many people just want you to get straight to the point, in a sense that, people honestly don't read anymore. So they want you to get straight to the point. They just want to read what they got to see. If they decide to read, they want to see some pictures, they want to see some results, and that's it. So we want to make sure that when you are posting, just be powerful with your words. You want to also make sure you focus on your theme. So this is about what feeling you're trying to convey to your audience. So let's just say if you're doing, your theme is summer bodies, like summer bodies are not made in the winter, whatever the case may be, or weight loss goals, or you want to tone your body, you want to make sure that you focus on your theme. Also be mindful of the theme. So elements that you're trying to convey or trying to promote. So it's always about your pictures, your images, your colors, things like that. That's the stuff that you want to focus your theme on. Also, in regards to creating your post for your business, you want to make sure that you include all your social media links. So, like I mentioned, if you are posting something, you want to make sure, if you're, may say you're posting and sending an email, you have an email thread or you're sending something, you want to make sure you include like your Instagram and Facebook, email, website, YouTube, phone number, address, contacts, etc. Also, you want to make sure that when doing that, you want to make sure you have a call to action. So you want to let your readers know, like, hey, what do I need to do next? So like I have an example, like if you send a message, like your call to action is the first 10 people that send me a DM, they'll get 10% off their service, or book now, or if you refer a friend, I'll give you this, or like if somebody sends you a DM, you or when people start following you or they send you a DM. Normally what I do is if someone starts following me, I automatically just send them a message and say, thank you for the follow. If you decide to book an appointment, use this code to book an appointment. And that's that. You also want to make sure you have a strong call to action when it comes to letting your reader know more. Like I mentioned, first 10 people, send me a DM, you'll get 10% off your service. So you want to make them want to be a part of what you're doing, where you're going, what them to see, what you want them to, what services that you want to be provided. So you want your client to know that information. So this example that I have here, 30 days of unlimited butt lift or cellulite treatment. This is just an example. Of what it is. So my call to action is like, what am I at telling these people? I'm telling my clients 30 days of unlimited butt lift or cellulite treatment for this amount. You want to make sure always have your logo. What's the call to action? Call for an appointment, or click this link for an appointment, or whatever your call to action is. This is your call to action. Have your website, have a picture, something straight to the point. They know what to do, and you go from there. So those are some few touch points that we could talk about when it comes to creating your post for your body contouring business. So this is the list of items that you would need. I'm also going to input a link or information on the vendors that I use in regards to any device that I use. So I mentioned earlier, these are the two devices that I always use, my S-shaped machine as well as my 6-in-1 cavitation machine. The reason why I like the S-shaped machine is because it does save me time. With the S-shaped machine, if I have a client that's getting a service, for example, if they're doing laser lipo, cavitation, and skin tightening, I can do the skin tightening and cavitation at the same time with this particular device. So it saves me time when it comes to my clients. With this machine, I still love this machine. This was my money maker. With this particular machine, you're not really saving time, because so if you are having a client, if they are getting skin tightening, the only reason why I'm saying this is based on skin tightening. If they're getting skin tightening, of course you have your skin tightening probes here. You just have to switch out. With this particular machine, I can do it at the same time. Wood therapy tools is always important. I'll always also will link the vendor that I use for my wood therapy tools, and of course ultrasound gel as well. So the list of items, I'm sorry, actually let's focus on, there's a list of items that you'll need to get started. Massage bed, if you decide to do mobile massage, just make sure you get a massage bed that is not too heavy for you. So when you are transporting your machines or transporting your bed to your clients, you want to make sure it's not too heavy. So try to get a mobile massage bed, a 6-in-1 cavitation machine, wood therapy tools, massage table disposable sheets, gloves, non-latex, because people are still allergic to latex. So just go ahead and get you some non-latex gloves, ultrasound gel, a wide metal cart with wheels. That's if you have a location. So if you are in an office or office space, you want to make sure you have a wide cart so that you can mobilize or move your machine around on that cart. Towels, I find they're very good because I place the towels on my client, so that I place them on my client, and I tuck the towel within, like if they're wearing pants, so that the ultrasound gel doesn't get on their pants. You want to make sure you have disinfectant wipes and disinfectant spray to thoroughly clean before and after your clients. No matter what conditions we are in now, you want to always make sure that you are sanitizing your areas, cleaning your areas thoroughly. You also want to make sure you have, in order to create marketing materials or campaigns or so forth, it's always fine. It's great to have Canva. To me, I find it's a great social post, so you can have all kind of information that you're able to create posts. If you plan on seeing clients, you want to make sure you have a scheduling site. There's so many various scheduling sites out there. I use Acuity Scheduling. I have no problem with them. I believe they have merged with Square. You have, I think, StyleSeat. You have the Booksy. There's all type of platforms, but I personally use Acuity Scheduling because it works for me. And also, you want to make sure you have your consent and consultation forms. Consent and consultation forms are always important when you're seeing clients, because this is going to save you. This is going to save you to make sure that if there are any contradictions prior to any service that you see, this will save you from your client. So you want to make sure you always have your consent and consultation forms, which I will upload for you as well. So I want to thank you all for joining this training. This was like a quick high-level overview of body contouring 101. Of course, as I mentioned, I am going to have in this particular deck, you'll have all your consent forms that you'll need for your clients. You'll have FAQs as far as frequently asked questions that your clients will ask. I'll also have the things that you need. So I have links to all the devices and things that I use that I think will be important for you if you decide to do body sculpting for yourself, if you want to have your own personal machine for your home, to do your own services. And of course, if you have any questions, feel free to reach back out. Thank you guys for joining.